would share today a short story about resilience as an entrepreneur and something that happened personally that gave me a little bit of insight into that for myself. So on Sunday, we had a few friends and neighbors come over for a small pumpkin carving. We had a bunch of big pumpkins, other folks brought their own pumpkins, and spent maybe 3 or 4 hours just sketching and cutting and scraping and making things as perfect as we could. There was a cat here and a bat there and a spooky face, to the right and a happy Halloween to the left. And when the candles were lit and we were, turning off the lights, showing them in the dark, we were snapping photos and taking video. And definitely I felt that rush, that spark you get when something you've been working on and spending time on actually becomes real. But a couple of days later, when I went to go move them outside, they were covered in mold. And not just mold, 2 of them had burst open, 1 had sunk in on itself, the lights inside were soaked and gross, and honestly, they looked scarier this way. I kind of liked it a little bit on one hand, but they were not something that I could show or display outside. And even though here in Northern California, basically it's the same temperature inside as outside, in some ways I was thankful these explosions happened on the plastic tarp that we had out versus exploding all over my my entryway, that sort of thing. But during all of this, I just felt that pit in my stomach and that, pain. I think we all know a little bit as entrepreneurs. That kind of, oh no, oh shit moment when something you really poured your heart into and were really excited about and excited to share with others just didn't hold up. It simply doesn't work, and that definitely can happen. But for me, I guess the insight was that the experience and the process still mattered. It was the learning, the laughter, the artistry of it, the collaboration that we had, and none of that was wasted. And I know in this climate, sort of literally and figuratively, you need to prepare differently now, which was a big lesson learned for me. So again, growing up in northern Wisconsin, we would just carve the pumpkins, set them outside, and they would be good for months because basically you're in a freezer for, from October until May. But here, I now know different. I now know that you need to use a bleach solution or have some vinegar sprays or clean out the pumpkins even better or use Vaseline on some of the different areas. So next time I'm going to have more awareness and more certainty about what I should be doing. And I feel like this is a lesson I keep learning as an entrepreneur as well. Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't, sometimes things collapse. Sometimes things mold or aren't in the right environment yet for what they need to be successful. But that effort, that creativity, those sparks, that collaboration, those connections, that courage it took to try it in the first place is still valid and is still important. And is part of what keeps us growing and excelling and expanding our minds as entrepreneurs and leaders. So even when the mold becomes compost, nothing's wasted, right? We can still learn and grow and pull from the experience whatever we can. So if you like stories like this and want more real world experiences about being an entrepreneur or tips and tools and tricks for being, great leaders, please subscribe below. And then I'd also love, to hear your own experiences as an entrepreneur and where was there maybe a turning point or shift like this that you yourself experienced that gave you some insight into being a leader, being an entrepreneur, and being more resilient in the face of things that sometimes happen. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll look forward to hearing more from you soon and chatting more in the future.